Hey, what's up guys? So in this video we're going to be taking a look at the Radenso Pro and the Radenso Pro SE radar detectors, and we're going to go over the different buttons on top, what they do, kind of getting familiar with the using and operating the detector, and we're also going to dive into the different settings in the menu, explain what all the different features mean so that you can program it the way that you want. Now, with this radar detector, the Radenso Pro and especially the Radenso Pro SE, they've got really high performance. They're one of the best performing radar detectors on the market. It gives you really long range. It also has a GPS chip built in. You can see right now we're going 0 miles an hour. We're driving north before we parked. And so with the GPS functionality, you've got your low speed muting, speed-based filtering, you've got your GPS lockouts and red light camera alerts. So with the performance, it makes it a good highway detector, and with all the GPS functionality and muting and filtering capabilities, it makes it a good city detector as well. So it's a nice, well-rounded detector. Now this detector has been under development. They're adding new features in the firmware. Currently at the time of this testing, we'll go ahead and hold the middle button right quick. Power it on. You see we're running US 14 is the current version of the firmware that I'm going to be testing. With US 14, if you take a look at the current manual, they've actually removed some features out of this version that they used to have, such as like the speedometer functionality, which allows you to actually disable the radar detector functionality. So they've actually changed some stuff from the previous version of the firmwares, and they're even going to be adding and changing some stuff above and beyond what I'm going to be going over here in this version of the detector. So depending on what firmware version of the detector you're running, they may have changed some stuff, they may have added some features, they may have even removed some stuff, but nonetheless, this tutorial will walk you through the different features and options available in the detector so that you're comfortable with how to use it and what all the different features mean. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Now, getting familiar with the detector, first of all, you can see we've got our power cable right here. We've got a couple buttons right here. This is actually the release to, pop it off the windshield mount. We've got a couple buttons right here. I'll explain these in just a second. Then we have on this side our volume options. You can see we can adjust our volume. And then over here we have the USB port for actually plugging into our computer and updating the detector. So we've got our USB port there. Now, buttons here on top. Let's go ahead and run through what all of these do real quick. If you press and hold this one, this is actually going to be your power button. We're not going to do that just for now to kind of keep going, but with the short press, you'll see this will actually get us into our menu, which is where we're going to go here in just a second.
Display mode.
You can then keep short pressing this button on the left.
Units English. Alerts frequency.
And you see it's going to just cycle us through the menu. On the side, remember those volume buttons?
Alerts bar. Alerts frequency.
The side buttons will allow us to change all the different settings. The middle button does nothing. And then the right button
Setting completed.
basically says we're done, and we exit out of the menu, saving all the different settings and options that we've programmed. So this is going to be our power and our menu button. If you're getting a radar alert, this button right here will function as your mute button. So if we get an alert like this,
K-band 34.7.
I can press this button here on the left to mute any alerts that I'm getting. This also applies now to red light cameras. So if you're getting any alerts and you want the detector to be quiet, you're going to press this button here to mute the detector. Actually, let's see if unmute works. Oh, it does. Cool. I can press it again to mute. Awesome. So that's your mute and unmute functionality. Awesome. Now this button here on the middle, it's going to do two things. A short press
Dim.
is going to be changing the brightness of the display.
Smart dark.
So you can see we got a couple different options. Smart dark, you can see we got that little dot there, and if we get an alert,
K-band 34.7.
it'll go ahead and wake up for us when we're getting an alert, but otherwise it's going to be dark.
Full dark.
As opposed to full dark, the detector is completely turned off. You can see we don't have that little status LED, and when we get an alert,
K-band 34.7.
you notice the detector actually stays quiet the whole time, right? So no display at all. That's full dark.
Bright.
And then bright mode is going to be, well, full brightness, right? So
Dim.
there's no like medium setting. It's basically bright and dim, so kind of daytime and nighttime.
Smart dark. Full dark. Bright.
This detector does not have a light sensor to automatically switch between bright and dim. You do have to do it manually. Now, this middle button is also going to be your GPS lockout functionality. So the way that it works now as of this latest firmware, when you get a K-band alert and you want to lock it out, you press and hold this middle button here for like 2 or 3 seconds, and that actually begins the lockout learning process. And then you'll drive down the street, it'll learn that false alert, and then lock it out for you. And once you're past the alert and it no longer sees that false alert, it'll tell you that the lockout learning process has completed. So that's the way the lockout process works here with this detector. One thing though is you'll want to make sure that you're actually locking out a stationary false alert. So if you drive past the location over and over and over and that false alert is always there, whether it's a grocery store with an automatic door opener or a speed sign, like you'll always have the same false alert in the same location, that's when you'll want to use the lockout functionality. You don't want to use it for every K-band alert because it could be a blind spot false from another car around you. Those are moving. You don't want to learn the location of those alerts. Additionally, you want to make sure that you're not accidentally locking out a police officer. So I know it's kind of tempting, and to be honest, I've done this too. If you're driving around and you're just like in the initial learning phase to just lock out every signal you see, be careful with that. You will want to make sure that you're not inadvertently locking out police officers by doing this manually. You want to make sure that you're actually locking out a grocery store or a speed sign or something that you know for sure is a stationary false alert. So that's the lockout learning process. Now, the learning process is only going to learn up to 2 signals at a time, so you may actually have to do this process several times until it locks out everything. So what happens is if you are in a lockout zone, and you'll see actually on the display it tells you it's detecting a signal that it's locked out, but it's detecting an additional signal that, again, it could be a false alert, could be legitimate. What you can do then is you can, again, press and hold this middle button, and on the display you'll see 2 options pop up. There will be add, there will be delete. Add will be on the left-hand side. That'll basically say add this new signal to my collection of lockouts and lock this new signal out as well. On the right-hand side, you'll have the button that says delete. That one will tell you to delete the existing lockout that I already have and basically take it away and remove it. So you've got some options there as far as how the lockouts work here with the Radenso. Now, this button here on the right-hand side,
City mode.
you can see we've got the option to adjust our sensitivity options.
Auto city mode.
These features are actually quite handy.
Highway mode.
So highway mode is going to be full sensitivity on all bands, X band, K band, and KA band. So you got maximum level of performance out of your detector. However, at full performance levels, you may get some false alerts. So the Radenso has 2 different ways of actually helping to cut back some of the false alerts in the city.
City mode.
City mode, what this does is it's going to actually dial back the sensitivity of certain bands, and you can actually say how much you want to filter X band or K band or KA band, and I'll actually show you that in the menu. You can do anywhere from like no filtering all the way to like 90% filtering, so it's almost completely filtered, you know? So you do have some abilities to adjust this.
Auto city mode.
Auto city mode is kind of a more advanced version of city filtering, and the way that this works is you're actually going to set not 1 but 2 different speeds in your detector. The first speed that you're going to set is going to be the speed where you get no radar alerts, where the radar functionality is basically disabled altogether. By default, you'll actually see they recommend 20 miles an hour. So one speed that you're going to set, you're going to have no radar detector alerts. Then as you start getting faster and faster, you do want to detect radar, but it's going to be kind of dialing back the sensitivity. So maybe between 20 and 35 miles an hour, for example. There's going to be a second kind of middle speed range where you do get radar detection, but at reduced sensitivity levels. And then finally, if you're traveling fast enough, you're going to do full level of performance like highway mode. If you're driving at speed or on the highway or whatever, you can get full level of functionality. So again, auto city mode, you can either get at slowest speeds or stopped, no radar detection at all. At mid-level speeds, you're going to get reduced sensitivity. And then at high level speeds, you're going to get full sensitivity. And you can adjust these exact speeds, and we'll do that here in a minute. So that's auto city mode, and it's a great way to help deal with a lot of the false alerts in the city.
Highway mode.
Cool. And then if you do a long press here,
User location added.
that's how you can actually manually mark a location so that next time I drive by here, my radar detector will actually alert me. So if you have, for whatever reason, like, I don't know, a pothole in the road or a red light camera that, I mean, the detector already does it, but if there's some thing that you want your detector to alert you to when you drive by, you have that functionality. Let's see.
User location added.
Okay, so it doesn't let me delete it by doing that. We're going to have to go into the menu, which I'll show you in a second, on how to delete these manually marked locations. And actually, with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the menu and run through the different options.
Setting mode.
Okay,
Highway mode.
so we've got our options here, our ability to
City mode.
switch the different
Auto
settings.
city mode.
Let's go ahead and start with auto city mode, because this is where we're going to get into some of the customization. So
Auto city speed limit.
Okay, so remember how I mentioned there's two different speeds? This first speed here is going to be the speed below which we get no radar alerts. So if we're below 20 miles an hour, our radar detector is going to be completely visually and audibly silent to radar alerts. And press this middle button here, we're going to jump over to the other option. So this 35 miles an hour is going to be the speed below which we get radar detection, but at a reduced sensitivity level. So we can set it to whatever you want. In the manual, they recommend 20 and 35. Set it to whatever your heart desires. We're going to say 35 for now, because that's a pretty cool option, so why not? Okay, so you can see with this middle button, we can kind of bounce between the two of them.
City level.
Okay, city level. Now this is going to allow us to actually adjust the level of filtering that we have when we're in city mode, when we are detecting radar, but at a reduced sensitivity level. You can see we can adjust the individual bands for X band, K band, and Ka band. This is what they show in the manual: X band at 5, K band at 2, Ka at 0. Now the way that this works is maybe a little bit counterintuitive, but this is not the level of sensitivity of the detector. This is how much filtering you're getting. So if we put it all the way up to 9, you can see this is our maximum level. This is like maximum level of filtering. Kind of how strong does the signal have to be until we get an alert? So the signal has to be, 9 out of 9 in order for us to get an alert. So in short, 0 is no filtering and 100% sensitivity. 5 is 50% sensitivity and 50% filtering. If we go over to K2, this basically says I want a 20% reduction in sensitivity, so I still have 80% of my sensitivity left. I've seen some people actually get this backwards, and they actually by mistake said, oh, Ka 9, I want full performance out of Ka, and they set it to 9, but what that actually means is I want like maximum level of filtering on Ka band. Oops. So it can be, a little bit, it's easy to get backwards. So basically, this is a good recommendation of what they suggest in the manual. The bigger the number is, the lower the performance and the higher the filtering. That's the way this works. And again, this applies when you are in city mode or in auto city mode at that reduced sensitivity level.
Display mode.
Okay, so on the display here when you're driving, you can actually choose what you want displayed on the screen. I like having my speed and my direction of travel in the compass. Take a look at the other options. You can also display the time, the voltage of your vehicle, alternator. You can do just the voltage alone, just the time alone, or just the speed alone. Again, I said I like having my speed, GPS, accurate speed, plus the direction of travel, very handy. The compass actually depends on you moving. It's not a compass built in, so you do have to be driving for that feature to work.
Units English.
You have the option of using basically miles per hour,
Units metric.
or kilometers per hour. I like kilometers for when I'm in Canada,
Units English.
and miles when I'm in the States.
Alerts frequency.
Okay, so frequency. You have two different ways of displaying and announcing the alerts. You can either have it tell you the frequency,
Alerts bar.
or not.
Alerts frequency.
When it's in frequency mode, it'll give you the signal strength, from 1 to 9. It'll just tell you a number, and it will also tell you the frequency of the radar gun that you're getting. It could be 34.7, 35.5, 33.8, etc.
Completed.
So with that feature enabled, I'll go ahead and show you an example of what it looks like when you get an alert with this mode enabled.
Ka band 34.7.
And so as you can see, it announced the radar gun. It told us that this is a 34.7 gun. It doesn't give us an exact frequency to say it's 34.695 or 34.728. It just says 34.700. So it's going to give us kind of a generic number, but it does, tell us 34.7 versus 35.5, for example. So that's the frequency announcement. You'll notice it also did audibly speak the fact that it's a 34.7 gun. Now, if we go and switch it into bar mode, let's go ahead and take a look at what that does.
Ka band.
Now, as you can see in bar mode, it presents the alert a little bit differently. It doesn't show us and it doesn't tell us the signal frequency. It just gives us the signal strength, and we actually have our bar, and it makes it easier to watch the ramp up over time. So rather than displaying the frequency of the signal, if you don't want that information, you can run the bar graph instead, and that's how that feature works.
Alerts frequency.
Personally, I really like having the frequency. I find that very useful, so this is the one that I run, and I can still get the signal strength.
Auto mute off.
Okay, so auto mute.
Auto mute on.
This is pretty handy. So the idea is
Auto mute off.
with auto mute functionality, when you have it actually
Auto mute on.
enabled like this, you'll get your alert as normal, and then after a couple seconds, the detector will automatically reduce the volume once it has your attention.
KA band 34.7.
So you can still see the alerts, you can still hear them if you have your speakers turned down, your radio turned down. But with the auto mute functionality, it's a nice way to make the detector a little bit less annoying or so once it has your attention. You know, that way the audio will actually back off, and then you can just keep driving and you can pay attention to your detector as needed. Especially nice if you have other people in the car and the beeps and whatnot can get a little bit annoying. Great feature there. If you're running maybe dash cam footage and you're wanting to share it with others, you may actually want to run auto mute turned off so people on video can actually hear the detector more easily over the road noise and whatnot. So you got your options there with the auto mute functionality and how you want it to run.
Speed limit setting for radar alert.
Okay, speed limit setting for radar alert. Basically the idea here is you can set a speed. So when you get an alert, it'll tell you, for example, KA band, and if you have frequency mode, it'll say KA band 34.7. However, it will not actually beep at you once it announces the frequency. So if you don't want the beeps and you just want a quieter experience with just an initial alert, it's a little bit different than auto mute. You'll get an initial alert and then it goes totally silent with no beeps. Unless you're over a preset speed, you do have that option, and I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like.
KA band.
Cool. So that's going to be this option here.
X off.
Now we have the ability to go ahead and enable and disable individual bands. So
X on.
if you have X band in use in your area, leave it on. If you do not,
X off.
have it turned off. If you're wondering whether or not you need any of these bands, watch the video. You'll see the link on the top right hand corner of the screen. It tells you what you need in different locations.
K wide.
For now, we're just going to assume that you do know what you need to, what bands to use, so we're just going to run through it. With K band, you have two different options.
K narrow. K off.
So you can disable K band altogether,
K wide.
or you can scan the entire range of frequencies that K band operates in.
K narrow.
If you know for a fact that police officers are only using a smaller range in the middle of K band, you can actually set K narrow and filter out any alerts that are kind of far away from the center frequency of K band. I'll actually put the exact frequency ranges on the screen so you can take a look, but the general idea is in the States, K-band can be used anywhere, so while it could be tempting potentially to actually run K-band narrow to deal with some of the false alerts, police officers can actually operate in the frequency ranges where K-narrow would not be scanning. So for that reason, you're probably actually going to run K-band wide. That's what I run, and in the States, that's usually the recommended option.
Traffic filter high.
Okay, so traffic sensor. This is going to be one of your main tools for dealing with a lot of the false alerts on K-band.
Traffic filter off.
You can disable the traffic sensor rejection filter.
Traffic filter low.
You can put it on low.
Traffic filter high.
You can put it on high. So here's what this feature is designed to do. Traffic sensors are these sensors on the side of the highway that blast K-band to measure the flow of traffic. They can cause false alerts on your radar
Setting
detector.
completed.
Now the way that traffic sensor rejection filter works is it filters out any short blasts of radar. Continuous long bursts it'll actually alert to, but any shorter blasts will filter out. So this filter is going to filter out traffic sensors, and one of the cool benefits is it actually happens to filter out many cars that have those annoying blind spot monitoring systems. A lot of those monitoring systems can also send out kind of short bursts of radar, and this filter, it turns out, also happens to deal with a lot of those. So if you have traffic sensors on the side of the highway and your detector keeps alerting to K-band, or if you've got a lot of cars with blind spot monitoring systems around you, you're going to want to use this filter. Now you notice there were two different options. There was traffic sensor low and high. Basically, high has a longer delay. It requires a longer signal for your detector to alert. It's a more aggressive filter. It's also going to be a quieter filter. I like running TSR high because it is a quieter filter, and I really like having a quiet detector. TSR low will be a noisier detector, but if you have a lot of K-band in use in your area, if you're maybe more in the mountains, when there's not a lot of blind spot cars around you, there's not as much, traffic around you and all that kind of stuff, and you've got K-band in use and you want maximum performance, you may want to run at a less aggressive filter, or even, no filter at all, TSR off. But if you're in a place with a lot of cars around you, TSR low or even TSR high would be a good option. So I run TSR high. You do get a reduction in performance, you do get less range with the filter, but it's all a trade-off, so try TSR low, try TSR high. High will be quieter, and that's the main reason that I like it. Unfortunately, it's not too aggressive of a filter and too long of a delay, so it's still usable in practice. TSR low and high. So
KA narrow.
Okay, KA narrow. This is basically your band segmentation option.
KA off.
You can either disable KA band altogether.
KA wide.
You can scan the entire range of KA band frequencies.
KA narrow.
Or you can scan just 33.8, 34.7, and 35.5, plus minus 120 megahertz. So you got a little bit, radar guns are designed for those three frequencies, plus minus 100 megahertz. So this is designed to scan those frequencies plus minus 120 to give you a little bit more range and cover any potentially out of tune guns. So this is a popular option. I'm just doing this so I don't get kicked out of the menu. KA narrow should give you a little bit better performance. I don't think it does on the Radenso, but usually this is the popular option for the red lines and the V1s and all that kind of stuff. So
KA pop off.
that's your KA band segmentation option, and KA narrow is usually what people would run. KA pop, if you want
KA pop on.
Detection of KA band 33.8 pop, you can enable that here and get your pop detection.
KA pop off.
It's best though to leave it turned off for, you generally get better performance and more false alerts with pop on, and pop's not in use and blah blah blah. So
Laser on.
laser detection, if you want it turned on, turn it on. If you don't need laser detection,
Laser off.
turn it off. Cool.
Laser on.
Might as well run with it turned on, and it just says when you get shot with laser that you get shot with laser.
Startup sound off.
Okay, startup sound. If you want an initial kind of startup sound from the Radenso, turn that on. I like a quieter, more simple experience, so I have it turned off.
GPS connected announcement off.
Okay. If you want the announcement of when your detector gets a GPS lock, you can turn that on. I don't care. I let it just kind of figure it out for a little while, and then eventually it locks, and it locks. Cool.
GPS detection.
Okay. So, the Radenso has a database built in for things like speed cameras, red light cameras, section speed cameras. So basically you go from point A to point B and it measures your average speed between the two. So those are your section cameras. User area, forget what that is. I'll put it on screen, whatever user area is. And speed cam. So anyways, you can turn all that stuff on and off as you like. So speed cam off, speed cam on. Cool. So you got the alerts to that kind of stuff, and you update all that through the USB port and download the updates, from their software package.
GPS warning distance.
Okay, GPS warning distance. So when you approach a red light camera, you have the option of choosing how far away you get the alert. Normal, farther, or farthest. The exact distances, I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll put those on the screen as well. I think it's like 800, 1250, and 1650 or something feet. Anyways, you can choose the option. I run normal, and that gives me plenty of warning against red light cameras.
Set local time.
Okay. You can set the local time as well. With this guy, basically, it can actually set its own time via GPS, and you just have to basically tell it, a time zone offset. So depending on what time zone you're in, you just choose that, and then it'll figure out the minutes and everything else by itself. So GPS is pretty cool for that.
Factory reset.
If you want to completely reset your detector to all factory defaults, that's how you do it.
Delete all user locations.
If you want to delete all of the user locations, like remember how earlier I pressed and hold this button and it marked this location, so I get alerted whenever I'm here. I'm going to do that in just a second. And then do I want to delete all of my lockouts, essentially, everywhere that I've marked as a false alert? If you want to delete all of your lockouts, that's how you do it right here.
Auto city mode.
And then, cool. Now we finally loop back to the beginning, and we have the option of,
Setting completed.
Going through the menu again and restarting from scratch. So that's basically just a quick run through of the Radenso Pro and the Radenso Pro SE. Different features here on top, as well as the different kind of menu options that are available to program and customize your detectors. So that's basically it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask down in the comment area below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want, of course, more be notified of more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe as well. If you want to purchase a Radenso, I'll go ahead and put links down in the video description for where you can pick up the Radenso Pro, the regular one, and the Radenso Pro SE, as well as if you want to watch my review of the detectors, the links to those videos will be down in the video description too. So, a bunch of information in the video description, as always with all my videos. That's where I put all the additional helpful content. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. A bunch of great discussion area is on RDF, so I'm going to link you guys to the Radenso discussion section on RDF. And cool, yeah, hope that's been helpful. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Later.